Hiya, I've been asked to show you how to make the owl granny square tutorial, so I'm going to show you how this is done. Start with the magic loop. If you've not seen this already, you could watch my other tutorials. Start with a reasonably big loop, give yourself a bit of room, pop your tail end through it and put your hook through that. And this is how I do it. You pull your working yarn up and you secure it by just yarning over and pulling through and then pulling the tail end. So you've got a nice loop that ain't going anywhere. So we just fold the back of the tail end of the yarn over so you look as though you've got two pieces. And this we're going to work over, and it's called the magic loops. When you pull it tight it will close the hole for you. So 8 half double crochet in here, so you yarn over, pop it into the hole, pull it through, you'll have 3 loops on your hook, and then you pull through all 3 and pull it reasonably tight. And again, yarn over, through, pull that loop, and then through all 3. So that's 2 done. We need 8 of these. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One more. Now if you're running out of space, do give it a tug. You can leave yourself a little space on this bar here. So that's my 8th. I'm going to close this hole up in a second, so don't worry if it's in the way. The next thing we're going to do is find that first stitch we made, which is there. You see how there's 2 little loops, like a little V here? So bob your hook through those, so you've got those 2 little loops on your hook. And you're going to pull it through there and then through itself, and that's your slip stitch made. The next thing we're going to do is pull that yarn tail tight and close up that hole as best we can. There we go. Now sometimes you end up with a little loop there, don't worry too much about that, it'll go away. We can soon sort that out another time. Actually closes up the hole for you quite nicely. The next thing I would suggest that you do is use a stitch marker and just bob that in there. Because when you're working around it's incredibly easy to get lost, and it's really irritating when you get lost. So the next thing we need to do, according to the pattern you have to 2 HDC in each round. But the first thing we need to do is chain 1 for the height. So that's that bit done. And what I also like to do is work over my yarn tail just to get it out of the way for you. So push it back a little bit and just hold it with your finger. There, because when you work over that it'll get rid of it. It's much simpler to have it out of the way than having to pee about weaving in ends. It's very irritating. So half double crochet again, but we're going to put 2 in each space. So you pull over like you just have done, but you're going to put it under the stitch. Oops, that's not gone through properly. So through the stitch, make sure your yarn tail's over the back of that, and you're going to pull through and through again. You'll find that the hardest one, because once this yarn tail's working into here it's much simpler. But when you do 2 HDC you put it in the same hole, so in that same hole again, and pull through all 3. So that's 2 HDC in one hole. I'm going to go along to the next chain along now. Again work the yarn tail over, so you're just hiding it as you go. So that's 1 and 2. The third one into the third hole. 1 and 2. And your hole's just coming a bit astray. You might want to just pull your yarn tail again to tighten it all up. So through there. 1 and 2. Just keep working over your yarn tail You'll see how much easier it is in a moment once it's got rid of. So we're just nearing the end now. And on the pattern you'll notice that there's some numbers in brackets. If it says 16 it means there's 16 stitches in that round. So we've just got 2 more in this one to do. And 2 in the last, and then we'll join with a slip stitch again. So you'll notice the yarn tail now is fairly secure, which is nice. So we'll just take that stitch marker out. I'm going to work over it once more into the last 2 stitches. That's 1 and 2. I'm just going to take that one out. So there's a pesky little string that decided to come out of the way. So we can see we've done 1 in there, so we'll put 1 more in. So that should be a 16. But what I'm going to do is chop off this yarn tail because it's irritating me, so pull it really, really tight. Snip it off. And then when you pull your circle back out, you'll see it's just hidden away nicely and you can't see that irritating yarn tail anymore. So we need to join the round with the slip stitch again. So in there, pull it through, and hopefully we will have 16. Let's just check. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, and then you do have that one for the chain, but we don't count that one. So the next thing we need to do now is change colour. And use grey. You can use whatever you fancy really. The grey might make it more owl-like. So how I change colour, not how everybody does it, but I just make my loop, pop it through, and just pull it through the tail that you've got for your blue there. Now, not everyone does it this way. I just find this is the easiest way. Don't leave yourself with too long a tail because we're going to cut these are going to be your tail pieces and we're going to cut them off in a second. But I'm just going to make the blue tail the same length as the grey tail, so our blue's now not in the way. Now you want to pull your blue tail really, really tight and hold it in place with your finger at the back there. And tuck your grey in there as well. I find that's the easiest thing to do. Gives me a really good pull. So we're changing up to colour 2. Just doing a quick read, just bear with me a second. So we need to chain 2 with the grey colour now. So make sure it's nice and snug and tight again. And you're going to chain 2. This is for the height of your double crochet. Now again, we're going to work over both of these yarn tails so they're hidden, you don't have to weave them in. So we're going to do 2 double crochet in each chain, but I just need to pop in, don't forget about your stitch marker. That's in there. Probably don't need it on the round when you've only just changed colour, but it's always handy to have it there. So the double crochet, very similar to the single, or the half double rather. So you're pulling through the first 2 loops on your hook and then to the second 2, and you're putting 2 of those in each hole. So again, make sure you're working over your yarn tails to hide them. Pull it through. It's a bit fiddly, but you'll get there. Pull through 2, pull through 2, and we're doing 2 in each of those stitches all the way around, so we're going to have 32 stitches finally. So again, oops, didn't quite got that in the right hole. If you make a mistake, don't panic, everybody does it. It just comes with experience. I'm just going to work our way around now. As a rule, I tend to do 5 lots of stitches and then snip off my tails. If you wanted to do that, it just gets them out of the way for you because they're a bit fiddly if they're there. I'm just going to do one more lot, so that's another 2 in that stitch. And then just as before, pull your tails through, snip them off nearer your work, and then you can pull them back tight. The tails are hidden out of the way now, so that makes life a lot simpler. So we can carry on double crocheting, 2 in each hole. I think the double crochet is my favourite stitch for working things like this because it's nice and easy. And it gives the fabric a really nice look. As I've stressed with all of these videos, this is not the same way that everybody does it. Fortunately, the English and the American confuses people as well. I don't know why they can't just have one lot of the same. I actually find the American easier because a double crochet you do twice, if that makes sense. This is all, I believe, the American abbreviations. The English ones are stupid, personally. So we're working our way around now. Oops. Please don't be put off by the speed that I work at sometimes. I'm just trying to do it so I'm not taking up too much of your time. You do it at whatever speed you like and pause the video whenever you need to. And do ask any questions if you have anything you need to know, and I'll try and help you. Be hopefully my last one on this round. So because we've increased on every stitch now, I'm just going to take my marker out just to get it out of the way for a sec. Hopefully that should now be 32 before we slip stitch, but I'm just going to double check because it does throw you sometimes a little bit. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 3, 6, 9, 12, 30, 1, 2. So when you're slip stitching, don't put it in the chain hole there. You need to be up in the top one there. Oops, put my hook in the wrong place. My yarn in the wrong place rather. So you can see there's a top stitch there. That's where you're going to slip stitch next. Pull it through. So this is the bit that's probably going to confuse everybody because it reads HDC in next stitch, and then there's a colon, DC-TC-DC, which doesn't mean anything to most people, and then SC in next 5, which is really confusing. It's actually very simple. So it asks you to chain 1, and what we're going to do is we're going to HDC in the next stitch. So not this one, that one. So the half double is 3 loops and back through. Now the way this is written is quite awkward, it should really be in brackets. So in the next stitch you're going to do a double crochet, so pop 1 through, pull through 2, pull through 2, dash a TC, which is a treble crochet, so this time you wrap your yarn over twice into exactly the same hole as you just did your double crochet. You pull up and you'll have 4 loops on your hook, and it's a treble for a reason, so pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, that's your treble, and then another double in the same hole. This is making your ears now. So pull through 2, pull through 2. So that's that complicated bit. And then it says SC in the next 5, so you just insert your hook, pull it through, pull through what's on your hook, so that's 1, and then along again, 2 stitches, 3 stitches, 4, and 5. Oops. And then you're going to do the same thing again, DC, TC, DC. So it's not as complicated as it sounds. Double crochet, so you've yarned over once, you pull through 2, pull through 2, the treble, so wrap it around twice in that same stitch, back up, you've got 4 loops on your hook, so pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, that's some of your treble made, and then your next DC, so yarn over once in the stitch, pull it through, pull through 2, pull through 2, and then it just says HDC in next. So the next one along, we HDC, this is making your ears for you, and then you slip stitch to join, so through there, pull it through, and it says fasten off and weave in ends, so all you do again is pull through your yarn, pull up a loop, slip it, pull your working yarn away, and you'll see there's a bit of a knot going on, pull that really, really tight, and you're going to tuck that behind. So you see we've got our little owl shape. That's going to be his ears, obviously. What I tend to do when I'm weaving in, just get your hook, push it through. You're just going to sew your end of your yarn through 1 or 2 times. Just so you can't see it, just don't do too many stitches away. Doesn't really matter where you put your hook, just sew it through with your hook there. You won't be able to see this, it really doesn't matter. Okay, that's about done. So we're on the back side of the work now. I'm just going to give that a gentle tug and snip off. So that's Mr. Owl. So far, you can give him a little stretch, make sure he's in the right shape. So we're going to move down now. This bit, how it was written is quite complicated, but it's actually quite simple to do. It's really not that bad. So we're going to go to whatever colour you've chosen now for the rest of your work. I'm going to start with purple because my pink's not playing. Right. So it says turn owl over. There we go. You are going to be attaching a series of 3 chains where the brown DCs join the pink, so obviously where the grey joins the blue. It's best to start to the right of the ear and be sure to work clockwise. So what it actually means, you're going to be working into some of these loops. I actually found it easier to work on the back of where the blue is here because it's nicer to work with. So I'm going to start in this back loop. Now you don't want to see where the purple's going to go through on the front, so you have to work into the little back loop that you'll see, a little raised loop. So you're just going to hook your yarn over and you're going to pull it through and you're going to get your working end, pull that through, and I think personally I'll just tie that off. You can see this because I think it's really complicated otherwise. So I'm just going to put in 2 little knots, don't tie it too tight. Okay, I am going to still need my yarn tail, so I'll leave it where it is. Right, so it's asking you to SC and chain 3. Skip 1, SC and chain 3. Which basically means chain 3. 1, 2 and 3. And now, if you can see, you're going to skip that loop and bob it in that loop there. So pull it through and through itself. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Again, come to the back of your work, not that one, the next one along. You'll not be able to see this on the front of your work, which is nice. Pull it through and chain 3 again. A little bit too complicated, but you'll see why it works in a few minutes. Pull that through. 1, 2 and 3. Skip 1. 1, 2, 3. Skip another one. So basically you're making 8 loops. 1, 2, 3. So when you start making the actual part of your granny square in a minute, you'll see why you need 8 loops. One, 2 and 3. So there's 2 more now, hopefully. Where am I going? That's not very obvious. 1, 2, there. Oh, it's biting me a little bit. Pulling it through, single crochet. 1, 2 and 3. And then it says slip stitch to join at the base of the other one. So we'll go right in where we started from, pop it in there, pull it through and slip stitch. So, see now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 little loops. And that's where we're going to start making the granny square part. Okay, come back in a sec and I'll show you how to do the next bit.